Alright, this is a hacksaw, pretty simple tool, but I want to give you some pointers and teach you how it works. So this is mainly for metal cutting, and the blade determines what you're doing. So you can buy a lot of different kinds of blades for these. You could even buy blades that would cut, like a Christmas tree or something. But normally the blades are designed for metal cutting, the common blades. And this is what this tool would normally do, is cut metal. So the first thing to know about this tool is the blade needs to have some tension to it. It can't be really loose. You shouldn't be able to bend it a lot. It should be fairly taut. And how this one works is this one has this little lever back here. They're all different. This one has a lever that loosens the blade. So when I loosen the blade, when I loosen this, the blade this gets closer together, and then the blade will come off. So I can take this blade off, and I can replace these. So these get wore out obviously over time, and they get beat up. The blade actually has the teeth have a kind of a direction to them, and the amount of teeth per inch make a big deal about where you are trying to, depending on the material you're trying to cut. But you'll see that the teeth have a little bit of an angle on them. You want the angle to be facing the right way. A lot of these teeth, when you first buy them, will have a arrow on them of the direction. So for this one, the arrow goes this way, and that's the way I'm going to cut. This blade is really wore out, so you'll see there's some teeth missing. There's some that are just in really bad shape. So sometimes it might be just time for a new blade. But if I have my teeth going the wrong way, the cutting won't go as well. So I'm going to hook this blade back on, and what you need to know about this is that when you're cutting with the bandsaw, one direction it doesn't really do any cutting. It's on the return that it does most of the cutting. So that's kind of how this one is supposed to be set up. So when I bring it this way, it's not going to do any cutting. It's going to do the cutting when you come back. Okay, the return stroke is where it's going to do the cutting. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you have the blade going the wrong way, then it might be when you go to push it back, it's going to act funny, and the balance will be, improper. Some people like to have a hand on the top. All right, at the end, you just want to keep your hand away from the cutting surface. All right, it just kind of depends what I'm cutting, but sometimes it does help to have a little bit of extra stability by putting one hand on the top. The big thing is clamping your material down, but the hacksaw is great for just all kinds of little projects. If something where you don't need to get your hand near a moving saw, you can use it for some plastics. We use it for PVC, all kinds of different things. So they make a whole bunch of different blades that fit for the different kinds of materials that you're using. And we usually have some general purpose blades on here that are pretty good for most of the metal that we have laying around. But sometimes I'll see a kid struggle with some other tool, and sometimes a hacksaw is just the best way to go. They cut pretty efficiently, and they do a pretty decent job really for what they are. And that's the hacksaw.